The complete works of Swami Vivekananda, Volume 3, Section 4. Reply to the address of welcome at Pamban. Reply to the address of welcome at Pamban. On the arrival of Swami Vivekananda at Pamban, he was met by his highest, the Raja of Ramanad, who accorded him a hearty welcome. Preparations had been made at the landing wharf for the formal reception, and here, under a pandal which had been decorated with great taste, the following address on behalf of the Pamban people was read. May it please your holiness. We greatly rejoice to welcome your holiness with the heart full of deepest gratitude and highest veneration. Gratitude for having so readily and graciously consented to pay us a flying visit in spite of a numerous call on you, and venerations for the many noble and excellent qualities that you possess, and for the great work you have so nobly undertaken to do, and which you have been discharging with cons- conspicuous ability, almost zeal, and earnestness. We truly rejoice to see that the effort of Your Holiness in sowing the seeds of Hindu philosophy in the culture minds of the great Western nations are being crowned with so much success that we already see all around the bright and cheerful aspects of the bearing of excellent fruit in the great abundance, and the most humbly pray that Your Holiness will, during your sojourn in Aryavarth, be graciously pleased to exert yourself even a little more than you did in the West to awaken the mind of your brethren in this our motherland from their dear lifelong slumber, and make them recall to their minds the long forgotten gospel of truth. Our hearts are so full of sincerest affection, greatest reverence, and highest admiration for your holiness, our great spiritual leader, that we verify find impossible to adequately express our feelings, and therefore beg to conclude with an earnest and united prayer to the merciful providence to bless your holiness with a long life of usefulness, and to grant you everything that may tend to bring about the long lost feeling of the universal brotherhood. The Raja added to this brief personal welcome, which was remarked for its depth of feeling, and then the Swami replied to the following effect. Our sacred motherland is a land of religion and philosophy, the birthplace of spiritual giants, the land of renunciation, where alone, from the most ancient to the most modern times, there has been the highest idea of life open to man. I have been in the country of the West. I have traveled through many lands of many races, and each race and each nation appears to me to have a particular idea, a prominent idea running through its whole life, and this ideal is the backbone of the national life. Not politics, nor military power, not commercial supremacy, nor mechanical genius furnishes India with the backbone, but religion. And religion alone is all that we have and mean to have. Spirituality has been always in India. Great indeed are the manifestation of the muscular power, and the marvelous the manifestation of the intellect, expressing themselves through the machine by the appliance of science. Yet none of this is more potent than the influence which spirit exert upon the world. The history of our race shows that India has always been most active. Today we are taught by men who ought to know better that the Hindu is mild and passive, and this has become a sort of proverb with the people of the other lands. I discard the idea that India was ever passive. Nowhere has activity been more pronounced than in this blessed land of ours. And the great proof of this activity is that our most ancient and magnanimous race still lives, and at every decade, it in its glorious career seems to take a fresh youth, undying and imperishable. This activity manifests here in religion, but it is the particular or peculiar fact in human nature that it judges others according to its own standard of activity. Take, for instance, a shoemaker. He understands only shoemaking and thinks there is nothing in the life except the manufacture of the shoe. A bricklayer understands nothing but bricklaying and proves this alone in his life from day to day. And there is another reason which explains this. When the vibration of light are very intense, we do not see them because we are so constituted that we cannot go beyond our own plane of vision. But the yogi, with spiritual introspection, is able to see through the materialistic veil of the vulgar crowd. The eyes of the whole world are now turned towards this land of India for spiritual food, and India has to provide it for all the races. Here alone is the best ideal for mankind, and the Western scholars are now striving to understand this ideal, which is enshrined in our Sanskrit literature and philosophy, and which has been the characteristic of India all through the ages. Since the dawn of the history, no missionaries went out of India to propagate the Hindu doctrines and dogmas. But now a wonderful change is coming over us. Sri Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, whenever virtues subside and immortality prevails, then I come again and again to help the world. Religious researches disclose to us the fact that there is not a country possessing a good ethical code but has borrowed something of it from us, and there is not one religion possessing good ideas of immorality of the soul but has derived derived it directly or indirectly from us. There never was a time in the world's history when there was no there was so much robbery and the high handedness and tyranny of the strong over the weak has at this later idea or later end of the ninth century. Everybody should know that that there is no salvation except through the conquer of the desire, and there is no man is free who is a subject to the bondage of the matter. This great truth all nations are slowly coming to understand and appreciate. As soon as the disciple is in the position to grasp this truth, the words of the Guru comes to his help. The Lord sends him help to his own children. In his infinite mercy, which never ceases and is ever flowing in all creeds. Our Lord is a Lord of all religion. This idea belongs to India alone. And the challenge, and I challenge any one of you to find it in any other scriptures of the world. We Hindus have now been placed under God's providence in the very critical and responsible positions. The nation of the West are coming to us for spiritual help. The great moral obligation rests on the sons of India to fully equip themselves for the work of enlightening the world on the problems of the human existence. One thing we may note that whereas you will find that good and great men of other countries take pride in tracing back their descent to some robbers barons who lived in the mountain fortresses and merged from time to time to plunder passing wayfarer, as we Hindus, on the other hand, take pride in being the descendant of rishis and sages who lived on roots and fruits in the mountains and caves, meditate on the Supreme. We may be degraded and degenerated now, but however degraded and degenerated we may be, we can become great if only we begin to work in right earnest on behalf of our religion. Accept my hearty thanks for the kind and cordial reception you have given me. It is impossible for me to express my gratitude to H. H. the Rajan of Ramanad for his love towards me. If any good work has been done by me and through me, India owes much to this good man, for it was he who conceived the idea of my going to Chicago, and it was he who put the idea into my head and persistently urged me on to accomplish it. Standing beside me, he, with all his old enthusiasm, is still expecting me to do more and more work. I wish there were half a dozen much more such Rajas to take interest in our dear motherland and work for her amelioration in the spiritual line.